Right, good day, Emaswati. Once again, we're doing our Finance in Focus discussions. What we then also have is Neal's motion in Parliament, and it was a very good motion, just to say, Minister, why do we stay to the 40% debt to GDP ratio? Why did we lift it? You know, some countries in Africa are 60, or in fact most countries are north of 60%, even some bigger countries. But you must understand, the more we lift our debt, the more that interest payment will knock us and will actually gobble away from not having money now to spend on education and health, actually paying interest with it. Secondly, you must understand we are only recognizing debt that we've drawn down on. Of the 36 billion is what we've drawn down on. We still have about 17 billion of debt we've taken as government, but not drawn down on it yet. In the future budgets, we'll be drawing down on that. So there's a big number that we've already taken on board, but we actually haven't utilized yet. At the same time, we must keep in mind that the fact that we're at 40% means we get very good rates. So everybody would like to loan us money because we're being prudent, quite prudent with our debt to GDP ratio. So it means that the cost of our borrowing is still very good when it comes to our external debt. Domestic debt is a bit expensive, but external debt is still very well priced. So if we go higher with our debt to GDP ratio, money starts costing us more, as well as not everyone wants to loan you money anymore because you become more risky. But the nice thing is our low ratio also gives us confidence in the private sector. People are keen to invest in our country. They feel safe here because they feel like this country is doing the right thing from a prudent point of view, meaning that if they invest in Eswatini, they'll be able to take the money out one day in case they're foreigners. At the same time, if you're local, it means that there's nice growth and there's activity, and you can actually grow your company inside Eswatini with those low ratios. At the same time, something that I mentioned was we must keep in mind that 𝐄𝐒𝐖𝐀𝐓𝐈𝐍𝐀𝐍 is also a risk. As I spoke of earlier, 𝐄𝐒𝐖𝐀𝐓𝐈𝐍𝐀𝐍 is quite a large portion of our funding, and we need to have a possible plan B because 𝐄𝐒𝐲𝐒𝐂 could end. It's not dangerous at the moment. I think nothing to be scared about, but at the same time, you know, it could come to an end, and there's a 12-month notice period that we have, and then 𝐄𝐒𝐲𝐒𝐂 might come to a grinding halt, and for that reason, it's wise of Eswatini to have a low debt to GDP, meaning that if we do have some kind of crisis like that, we then do have the headroom to grow from a 40% even to a 60%, which we could possibly manage. It won't be fun, but we could possibly manage at that rate, and we can then take on a whole lot more debt to be able to help us transition from a 𝐄𝐒𝐂 funded budget to a non-𝐄𝐒𝐂 funded budget. It'll be terrible for us as a country to acclimatize to non-𝐄𝐒𝐂 revenue in our budget. And so we'll need a period of time. We're possibly taking on more debt to be able to get to that point of acclimatization. So for that reason, those are reasons why we feel like the 40% debt to GDP is the right place for us as a nation, and we rather stick to that more, in a sense, conservative path as a country. And so Emaswati, just coming to now personal, which means that, you know, debt is expensive. So at the moment we do have a problem in Eswatini where Emaswati in general are over-debted, which means that the amount of debt that one is taking on compared to the money that you have is too high. So my advice always to Emaswati is see what you can do to try and reduce the amount of debt that you have. Always start with the tactic is always start with the smallest one, and to say, right, I've got a small account at a furniture shop or a clothing shop, let me start and settle that one, and you try and shut down accounts and want to keep a certain amount of debt, but really keep it within a maximum 30% of your income one can possibly have as debt repayment as a household. If we go beyond 30%, it really becomes almost unmanageable, and on battle to survive beyond that. And so if one can use that as a rule of thumb, I think it will be the best for our people out there. Thank you very much, Emaswati.